Okay, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second session of the EU live seeding webinar on entrepreneurship in the organic seed and plant breeding sector. I am Maria Carrascosa, and I am a Spanish agronomist specializing in agroecology and cultivated biodiversity, and I am part of the Secretariat of the Spanish City Network for Agroecology. That is an association of almost 30 Spanish municipalities working together to develop sustainable, healthy, local and fair food systems. As I presented yesterday, this webinar is the first of 4 of them. So 3 more will come in 2025 and 2026 on marketing and communication, finance and governance models, and business plan and model development. And live seeding will organize also national trainings and entrepreneurship focal points in some countries. You can receive news about all of these activities and more in the live seeding social media channels. And by subscribing to our newsletter, you will find how to join in the website liveseeding.eu. So yesterday we presented some elements on the context of the organic seed and organic plant breeding sector in Europe. And we shared also some tools for entrepreneurship. And today we will work on funding opportunities, and we will exchange about lessons learned from Biggenheim Startgut in Germany and the network of biodynamic and organic seeds and breeding in Europe. So we hope that this second session is going to be also very fruitful. Let's move on directly to the first speaker. I guess he or she is, Pilar, she's here. So the first speaker of today's session is Pilar Martinez from the Daniela Nina Carazo Foundation in Spain. And she will share with us some elements regarding how to pitch your business idea to potential funders and donors. Pilar Martinez is an agricultural engineer with a PhD in agricultural economics, who started her career in development cooperation, working on food security and sustainable water management projects. After a period dedicated to research on agriculture and climate change, she joined the Daniela Nina Carazo Foundation in 2019. As manager of the Sustainable Food Program in Spain, she's responsible for projects related to research, value chains, and impact investments in sustainable food systems. Pilar, I'm very happy that you are here. Thank you very much for joining this webinar, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maria. Hey, everyone. Well, thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. Well, to share some of the some tips based on our experience. I mean, it's true that I'm going to focus on our experience, but I think you can extrapolate to other funders. Before going into the subject, sorry, I have my presentation. I can share my presentation, right? I mean, good, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We have here my presentation. So,
can you put it, Pilar? Can you put it? That's it. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. It takes some time. Yeah. Well, before going into the subject, I will give you some details about the Daniela Nina Carazo Foundation for those of you who don't know the organization. So you will understand later better our approach and the tips or the criteria we use to select the project, and that will serve to give you some recommendation on how to pitch your business idea. So the Daniela Nina Carazo Foundation, it's an organization created in 2010 in France under the aegis of the Fondation de France. It was created in the honor of Daniel Carazo, who was the founder of Danone, and his wife Nina. but it's a family foundation. It's not related to the company. What is our mission? Well, we seek the transformation of our society. We live in a society based on a linear economy that base our economy on a extractivist approach. So we will see that we need to move to another kind of society based on an economy of life and caring that put people and the ecosystems at the center. So this is our objective, to promote the transformation for a greener, more inclusive and fulfilling society. And we do this mainly through two main areas of work. We promote projects both in France and Spain in two areas: sustainable food, to promote universal access to healthy food and safe for the people and for the planet, and also art and citizenship, to develop critical thinking and reinforce social bonds. We support a broad variety of people and projects with the idea to promote integration, to create networks, and to demonstrate that there are different ways, different models, different approaches to move to this transformation. We are driven by social impact, and we base our action in research, in empirical knowledge, experimentation, evaluation, and self-learning. So how we work? Well, we are a philanthropic organization. We provide financial support. We provide grants, and also, I will go into detail later, impact investing in high potential projects. I mean, a project we have that have a high potential for impact in social and environmental issues. Some time ago, we also start a program, to promote non-financial support. After some years, we started in 2010 in France, in 2014 in Spain. We have some years already have experience, and we see that it's not only a matter of financial support, but we need to work with the organization we support to foster their capacities in different areas. So that's why we create this program we call Cartai, with the idea to accompany our project and to foster capacity building. As we are an organization driven by social impact, and as I told you before, it is important to evaluate and manage the impact of our program. So this is one of the things we do also at the foundation. I don't want to tell you much more about, we have a wide variety of grants, and the idea mainly is just we try to support project or sustainable practice from production to consumption. We support different kind of actors through calls for project. We co-create project with stakeholders. But today I would like to focus much more on our line of impact investing programs, to give you more example on, to how to pitch your business idea. As I told you before, we are a philanthropic foundation. We mainly work through grants, but some time ago we also start a reflection on how can the foundation be more coherent, to try to be more coherent without our investment and our vision, our mission. So we started to work also in impact investing. So we have different also actions, but just to give you some examples, we have two main programs to support organizations and projects at the different stage. So we have a fund, a sustainable food system fund, managed by Quadia. It's really focused on sustainable projects, sustainable food programs. It's a 7 million fund where we support projects in France and Spain in different kind of, with different kind. Can be equity, it can be loans, But the idea here is to support projects that are in a phase of growth with already a business model, with some returns and profitability. But we also we realized that we need to support, different kind of organization at the different stage. So last year we created TINA, which is also a program that we develop in France and in Spain. The idea here is to work with much more, let's say, little or early stage initiative that work in sustainable food, but here is also related to art program. And the idea here is to provide capacity building to help the organization to build their impact model, their business model, and to prepare. There is also a training on how to pitch your your idea here in this program. So the idea here, I will tell you now. I'm going to the point of the presentation, but actually I will share with you some of the learnings we have from this kind of projects, and share with you what are we looking as funders when we look at a project, and give you some recommendation when you have to we talk with funders how to present your business idea. So what are funders looking for? Well, as I told you before, we are now working about impact. So we are not anymore working about projects that are looking for rentability, profitability. So here we can use, even for if you look for a donation or you look for a grant or for a loan, we look for initiatives that are purpose driven and put the impact at the center over the economic benefit. We are in a moment where we have a lot of societal challenges. We need to start to promote other kind of model, other kind of initiative to look for solutions. So it is so important for us as an organization that is driven by impact, social impact. This is one of the most important objective. In this case, I think it's not so complicated because I guess you all are working, just promoting this kind of project that help to move to a more greener society. We look organizations that have a purpose, but you can have a purpose, but we need to transform our society. So we need a organization or project that will have a real impact on the transformation. And what is transformation for us? Because we talk a lot about impact, transformations, social challenges. For me, the most great definition I have ever heard about impact and transformation is that you have a real transformation when you are able to solve the cost of the problem. Not only the problem, but also the cost. So then is when you have a real impact and you are able to change, to transform the society. It's so complicated, but we try to support organizations that are in line with this approach. And we talked before about people, about the ecosystems. It's true that it's so important, the people who is behind the initiative. We are here in initiatives that normally are more risky, because normally are disruptive solutions. They promote things that are novel. So it's complicated to be sure that this kind of project will be profitable and viable on the time. But one of the things that can, let's say, decrease the risk of this initiative is to have a good team. So it's very important to know the team who is behind the project, and to be sure that they have the necessary skills to achieve their challenge. Another important thing, because we are talking about impact, not only because of the economic growth, we are we want to promote the impact of the organization of the project. So it's so important that, or one of the things we look for is the scalability of the initiative. That means to be able growth, to be replicated in other areas. But the idea is to be, well, to assure that we are supporting an initiative that will be able to, I mean, to deploy all the capacity of impact. Another important thing here is additionality, because the idea, we do this even on our grant programs, but also in our impact investing programs. We look for additionality. We look for initiatives that propose innovative solutions, disruptive solutions, sometimes crazy solutions, and normally they are underfunded because they are very risky. So there is also an additionality, because it could be difficult that this initiative get funding from other funders. If we move to impact investing, as you are an investor, and even if you are driven by impact, you will be, or you will want some return at some time, no? It's always a return under the condition of market. We are not looking for a profitability like 12, 15% of you can see in the market, but sometimes you need to get back your money. So here it's so important to have a business model that will help the initiative, the organization, to achieve their goals. The business model, the metrics will depend on the phase your organization is. I mean, if you are, for example, participating in TINA, our early stage program, we are here, I mean, initiatives that are now working on the business model. But if you are, for example, you look for a support in Quadia, they will look for an organization in growth with some profitability already. So it depending on the phase initiative you are, but even you have a business model or you have already a consolidated roadmap of growth also. So I would say that these are the, I mean, it's depending also on the funder, but the thing normally a funder will look for in the project, I think these are the most important questions. So considering these questions, how to pitch your idea. If you present, for example, a project to the Carazo Foundation or other organization, what do you need to present? Okay, so about the content, well, you need to tell your story. As I said before, and we look for organization purpose driven that need or search to solve a problem. So it's so important to present the problem you want to solve from a systemic perspective, and explain your motivation, why you are working on this area, why you want to solve this problem. So just to give you an example, for instance, I don't have any example of the initiative similar to yours, but I can give you an example, for example, of an initiative we support in Spain. It's a cooperative supermarket. It's called La Osa. It's located in Madrid. So here, what is the problem? Well, in Madrid, it's not easy to have access to ecological, local products. I mean, if you are in a consumption group, or if you are, have a specialized commerce around your neighborhood, but I mean, it's not so easy. So there is a complication, and as you know, we look for providing universal access to sustainable food. So here we have a problem with this issue, but we try always to address the problem from a systemic point of view. We don't have access, but we are also worried about the little or small producer that they don't have, profitability. They are, in a sometimes difficult conditions. So it is important to assure the access to this kind of product, but it's also important to assure that they will receive like good prices. So we decided to support this project that has a like wide vision or systemic vision of the sustainable food. So here the problem is the access to this kind of food, but also to support small producers and promote like local consumption. Okay, so after the problem, it's important to introduce your solution. I mean, and explain how your product or service will solve the problem. Well, in this case, for instance, they develop a supermarket. It's a physical place in Madrid where you can go and get your product. Okay, then as we are talking about impact, it's so important that you talk also about your environmental and social impact indicator. So you talk about the problem, you talk about the solution, but you need to demonstrate that your project will have an impact. Here, it can be, different indicators, but I don't know. Here, for instance, in Laosa, it could be the carbon footprint because we are like talking about local producer, or I don't know how the small producer can ameliorate their business model. I mean, their revenues, or how many people have access to this kind of product in Madrid, or this kind of indicator. But it's important to provide some details. And I mean, it can be qualitative and quantitative, but it's also attractive to see some numbers. Then, as I told you before, it's important to know the people who is behind the initiative and their role. Normally, I have to say that in the pitch I have seen, there is only one member of the team who present because it's sometimes easier. But it's also interesting to know more people of the project, just to see how they work together, their commitment with the initiative, and so on. And then we'll go into the numbers, because as I told you before, we talk about investment, we talk about rentability, profitability. So it's important to indicate also, or just to illustrate your business model. What are your lines? I mean, you provide a product, I don't know, in the supermarket, then you have also an online e-commerce, and you have like different kind of lines. So it's important to have also some metrics, actuals. I mean, now, what are the revenues, what are the expense, what are the margins, etc. This is the present. But as a funder, I will give you, or we are going to support your project over the 5 years ahead. So it's important also to understand what is the roadmap of your initiative, what are the milestones, at the medium term revenue potential. So here it's important like to have like a timeline. Okay, in 2014, I will go to set up the website. Then the other, I will, I don't know, increase the team. I will get more, put resources in communication. I mean, to have an idea of how the organization will evaluate over the years. And also, and this is a tricky question, just to estimate, to forecast the revenues. Okay, I guess next year, based on this criteria, on this assumption, I will get, I don't know, 200,000 euros. The next, I mean, it's important to see, I mean, how economically the organization will evolve over the time, because as I told you, even if we are talking about impact, here we are talking about investment, no donations. So it's important for the funders to assure that they will get paid back, over the time. And also, as you are asking for money, you need to write down your application. I mean, the amount you want or you need, and also what are you doing with these funds. I don't know. I'm going to use the 30% to increase the team, 40% to equipment, and 10% for communications and so on. So this will be the most important thing, just to tell your story, present your solutions, indicators, present the team, and then the numbers. It's not always so funny, but it's important to be clear about your business model. Where are you now and where you will be in the, I don't know, over the 3-5 years ahead. And then this is about the content, but then about the form, I think this is so important. Normally that depends, I mean, on the organization and the funders you will be in touch. But normally I think that it's a pitch. It's a 15 minutes presentation. I mean, more than that, it can be like, very heavy. And, funders, it's not my case, but I mean, I know we talk about different funders, and they are in touch with a lot of projects and they see a lot of pitch. So it's better to be, clear and concise, and, take the time, 15 minutes presentation, because you have to be aware also that, I mean, the pitch is not, I mean, presenting your idea is not only the pitch, it's not only the time you will spend, explaining the organization, because then normally it's followed by, a question and answers time, where you will be in a conversation with the funder, maybe to give you more, I mean, to ask questions, and you will be able to provide more information, or maybe to give you some recommendations. So it's also very important to not only speak, but also listen, because when you are talking about the project, you can see if they are willing to hear the investor. And this is also important, because if you are an investor in your company, you will be part of the company. So it's important to be listened, and to show a very good how do you say in English, but I mean that you are willing to hear, to understand, to introduce the recommendation in the evolution of the organization. And this is for all the presentation. It's also interesting, to use a visual and attractive format. If you have a lot of numbers and phrases, and no, it's better, to have like pictures to illustrate the problem, or pictures, or like verbatim from people who you are working with. I mean, like more dynamic format. And also, this is very, very, very important. The person who presents, it is important to be passionate and committed to the development, not only of your solution, but also about the problem you address. This is, I think, it's one of the most important things that investor will take into account, because as I told you before, I mean, we are working here with organization with a high risk. I mean, they are very innovative, but there is a high risk. And when you are an investor, you want to see that people, I mean, the team is very involved and is passionate, and and they will do everything just to try to work with the I mean, to achieve the challenge and the success of the organization. And I think that this is everything. I just wanted to give you some advice, and then we have some time if you have questions or you want to share some suggestions.
Thank you very much, Pilar. There are already some questions. If you have more, you can paste them in the chat. Ivan, he was asking, Scalability versus replicability. Why do you choose the first one? So scalability as criteria and not replicability.
That I focus much on the impact investing area. As an investor, I will say scalability on
We lost
the
we lost the first seconds.
sorry.
Can you repeat
Okay.
it?
Yeah. There are some difference. I mean, I'm talking about our experience as a donors and as a investors. So there are some difference. If you are talking at the Carrasco Foundation as a donors, I would say it's the same. For me, we can support a very, very local organization that has a very local impact, but high capacity of replicability is fine for us. But if you are looking or you are working with investors, I would say that they will prefer scalability on the way of the growth of the organization, of the project, and the capacity, you know, to have more revenues and then more impact. Yeah.
And I have two questions. Oh, there is another here. So let's go with this one first. What about stability? How many years can you grant support the project? What about the risk of disappear when there is no grant or no support? Sara Velázquez.
Yeah, it's a tricky question. Yeah, it's true. I mean, when we are working with grants, we normally support project over 2-3 years. The idea of providing this non-financial support was fostered by this because we were, you know, we realized that we need to foster the capacity of the organization to work in the viability a medium term. So there is also the option, you know, to continue supporting the initiative. So as a donors, we have like more flexibility. As a funders, normally we talk here about, I don't know how to say in English, like capital paciente. You know, if you are working in impact investing, they talk about capital paciente. If you are looking for a real transformation, you need to be patient. So investors must be patient, but the reality is that normally you support a project over a 5-year period. So you are an investor, so the organization need to prove that you will be able, you know, over a 5-year period. So it's depending on on the area you move.
Patient capital in
Patient
internet.
capital. Yeah.
Just in internet, okay? I'm not an expert.
No, they call
Okay.
patient capital. Yeah, because they compare, you know, with the normal traditional investment when they want rentability, profitability, you know, in a short term. Here, you know, if you are waiting 5 years, it's already a lot for a normal investor. Yeah. In donors, I mean, when we are working with grants, the situation it's different because we understand that we work with projects that are completely in social innovation. That, I mean, it's not easy, and normally you don't have other reference. I mean, you don't have other project where you can share ideas. That's why also we support project, but we support also networks, meetings, that just to help people to talk between each other and to try to share knowledge.
There is another question from Matt. He's asking, would you say that return of investment is important to philanthropics?
I mean, if you are talking about philanthropy, like, you know, as a donor, we don't really pay a lot of attention of you know, to this question. It's important, I mean, to be able to be, how to say, economic, in English is economic sustainability, economic
Sustainability.
Viable.
Yeah, it's
Viable,
yeah,
I
viable.
think.
Yeah. Economically viable. It's important, and we work this issue also in our grants. I mean, with the project we work with, we try, because they are projects that were born from the social impact vision approach, and it's complicated sometimes to define a model that will help your organization to be viable over the time, but it's so important. So it's one of the issues. We work with this non-financial support in our grants programs, but it's true that when we talk about impact investing, well, it's so important to be able economically, and it's some of the questions you will be pay attention as an investor.
In relation to that, Ilsa, she's asking, do you also measure return on investment in terms of social or environmental returns next to financial return of investments?
Yeah, we do. Well, with Tina, not yet, because Tina, we launched Tina last year, so we started the first launch this year. So we don't have still some, indicators, but with Quadia, yeah, we measure social, environmental, and economic indicators, just to be able, to be sure that, we are working in impact. We are promoting organization that has a real impact, but also profitability. As I told you, we are not looking for profitability as a level of the market. It's not let's say we are working in impact first. We prefer impact than profitability, but this is investment. This is not a grant. So as an investor, you look for profitability. We have also some examples, the organization that they weren't able to develop the business, and this is also quite useful. And as an investor, you face this kind of also question. Yeah.
Thank you, Pilar. Christian, he's asking if I could set up an organic breeding and seed multiplication company from the scratch. This needs a lot of initial investments to get the business started. What kind of funders, investors, financial institutions would you think could help me to support such an investment?
Yeah, so complicated. I can give you some. I don't know where is he from. I can tell you a bit more about Spain. It's true that it is complicated to launch a project from scratch, because you don't have the way to prove that your business will be profitable. But in our case, for example, Carazo Foundation can be an organization that can try to accompany this kind of project. Within the grants, maybe if you prove that you have a systemic approach, why do you want to develop this program beyond the production of seeds or crops and whatever? What will be the impact? Because as a Carazo Foundation, we try, as I told you before, for instance, with the example of La Osa, we are not working only in one thing. We try to understand the impact on all the sustainable food system. So it could be an example of a project that we can support through Tina. Because in Tina, we look for organizations that are in an early stage, even not created, but with a business model idea. So it could be a type of program that we support with Tina. I know also another impact investing program that support early stage business. C2B is the foundation where we work with in Tina, and they have also some programs. I have to say that, sorry, because I speak much more from the Spanish point of view. Impact investing is developing, is under development, is quite new in Spain, but hopefully they are more and more organizations now in Spain that are helping, to create this kind of project that have a lot of impact. it's also important. I didn't give you much more detail about this, but it's also important the type of organization. I mean, if you are a company, for instance, as a foundation in our grant program, we cannot support companies normally. So we normally support organization we call social economy. I mean, cooperative, foundation, association. On the other side, in our TINA program, which is, early stage organization, we support companies, but also social economy organization. If we go to Quadia, then we are able also to support companies and social economy organizations because Quadia is quite flexible on the mechanism. They are able to give equity, but also loans. When you are able to provide a loan, you can work with cooperative. So it's also important to have in mind what type of organization you are, because that can give you, can open the door to different kind of funding.
Lots of questions are coming, Pilar. Regarding seeds and breeding, organic seeds and organic breeding, which elements do you think entrepreneurs should stress when presenting their ideas?
Well, maybe, this kind of the criteria I provide you, this is for everybody, the team, the impact, the business model, but maybe it's much more difficult to explain your purpose because, it's already complicated to find funders, committed to sustainable food. If you talk about agri-tech project, in technological digitalization, these things are much more attractive. But when you work with this kind of organic seeds and so on, maybe it's much more complicated. So I would say that it's important to highlight the impact. And it's also very interesting if you are able, which is easier for you, to relate the impact of your solution with the climate change. We are now looking for solutions that can help us to mitigate climate change mitigation, adaptation. So that can give you open the door also to different funds that maybe are much more related to climate change, but you are giving a solution or providing a solution, an innovative solution to help the society to face this challenge. So I would say this climate change is also, sorry to saying that, but it's like this, like a keyword, and I can give you, because if you talk about food, sometimes it's much more difficult to work with this. Also, regenerative agriculture. I can see, at least in Spain, much more funds now working on climate change and regenerative agriculture and this kind of thing that maybe you are able to get into the question.
Perfect. There are 3 more questions and 2 minutes left, okay? So 4. One question is, what is your definition of food system, and if you consider projects related to waste reduction and food waste management in your funding?
Yeah, well, we talk about food system in general. We work, we are trying to support, sustainability in the different dimensions, social, environmental, economic, but also health, because we talk about people, food for people and for the planet. And we work in all the system. We work from the production to the consumption at the different level, public policies, research, project on the field. We work, let's say, we don't have any specific line of action related to food waste, but we try to support organization or project that work in this area, because as I told you before, we promote this systemic approach. For instance, we have a project working on schools, you know, in the canteens of a school to provide like healthy menus for kids. They are related, or they are trying also to work with local producers, small producers, but they are also working with the chefs to share knowledge, to create a network. So it's not a project created specifically to reduce food waste, but they are reducing food waste because they are planning, they are sharing knowledge, they are implementing a software that will be able to planify, that will help to planify. So these are things that, you know, I mean, this is a good thing to work with a systemic approach, because we are also, you know, taking into account all the different dimensions, and food waste for sure is, I mean, one of the things we have in our project, but we don't have a specific line.
Okay, and to more in figures, how profitable must be a business for an investor? And the common social and environmental profitability is shared with investor profitability if this is taken into account.
Well, the profitability depends. Just to give you some example, I think that, you know, like market rentability is over 12, 15, 20%. Okay. In our case, with the fund with Quadia, where we work with, you know, more consolidated organization, the profitability we search is like around 5, 6, let's say 6, 7%. But if we talk about the project we support with Tina, early stage project, it's like much more venture philanthropy. I mean, it's the idea to work with small organizations to try to diversify funds, to sensibilize or raise awareness about the different kind of funding they can get. So there it can be 3%, 2%. I mean, the idea really is not to get profitability. It's much more, I mean, to raise awareness, to work with the organization of their economic viability at the medium term, and to accompany, because it's quite new also for them. There is also a little bit, you know, scared when you are, oh, alone, I have to pay this. So the idea is to work with them in these issues.
Oh, okay. And then the last one, do you also support the startups outside Europe if the startup wants to produce for the European market?
Normally, no. Maybe, I mean, if you are based in France or in Spain, yes. Maybe you can be based in France and Spain, and maybe you get production. I don't know. We don't know support this kind of projects so far, but I mean, you produce coffee. You can produce coffee in France and Spain, but you are based here and you get your product from another country. But I mean, normally, no. In impact investing, we support projects in France and Spain.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Pilar. We are going to stop here. Thank you very much for your presentation. We have squeezed you.
I can. Sorry, Maria. I will do my email. I mean, I will write my email, and please don't hesitate, because I don't want to.
Yes.
You can see, no, because I copied from the presentation, and here you have my email address. So please don't hesitate if you have doubt and you need more information, especially if you need contacts in France or Spain. Please don't hesitate. We'll be happy to help.
Thank you very much, Pilar. It has been fantastic to have you here and to understand those key elements regarding the way projects need to be presented to funders and donors. Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao, ciao.
Oh, ciao. Okay, and now we are going to the next segment, where we are going to talk about funding opportunities through a panel, both in the private and in the public sector. For this, we have organized a panel discussion that will be moderated by Ilsa Phillips from IFOAM Organics Europe. Ilsa, you are there. Thank you very much for participating in this webinar. And the floor is yours, Ilsa. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, and good morning, everyone. And thank you for introducing me, Maria. And I will moderate this session. But before maybe introducing the great speakers, I would like to also share a few slides. Share my screen. Do you all see it in presenting mode? Yes. So
yes.
Okay, great. So I will just give some a quick overview, let's say, of what we have identified as different funding strategies for organic plant breeding. And as we all know, we're facing different crises, climate crisis, biodiversity crisis, and we think that organic or agroecological approaches can be a great solution for these challenges, but also the success of organic agriculture depends on diverse and suited plant varieties. And with the increase of organic agricultural land, it's not keeping up pace, and this is mainly because of the lack of financial resources. And this is just a short. This is a list of the different financing strategies or sources that we can see usually in organic seed and breeding sector. So the standard or the conventional business model is, of course, refinanced through seed sales or royalties. But then you can also have public financing, private user financing, or the involvement of value chain actors. There's a nice publication about this that I pasted on the slide. And of course, what you can also see is that organic breeders or seed producers have a mix of all these different financing sources. I would just like to dive a bit deeper in them. So the one where you finance through seed sales or royalties can have limitations for the organic plant breeding sector because there's no use of patents. There can be reduced or no income from royalties because some initiatives don't apply or don't collect from the royalties. And there's also maybe reduced income via the sale of seeds because the seeds itself are usually more bred for local or climatic conditions. So the area that they could be sold for is smaller. So therefore you have reduced income. And also many initiatives or breeding initiative or seed producing are more non-profit or in a participatory way. So that makes this also a limitation for the organic sector to solely get refinanced through this way. Then, of course, you have public financing, either on EU level or national or even regional. Below, you can see a couple of projects. Of course, also the live seeding project that is financed through public financing. What the limitation here is that mainly it's more for research and not so much on the practical breeding work. It's short term because these projects are usually 3, 4, 5 years. And there's more administrative burden. You have to report a lot, so maybe that can also be a limitation. And then to the next. So this is for public financing. Private financing, of course, you have different types, so private donors, foundations, or banks that do green investments. This can often stay more at the charity level. Also, it can be for startup phase only. As we heard in the previous presentation, now we know a bit more how to attract this kind of private funding. So that is great. An example here from Germany that the GOS Foundation, they have different funding streams for different types of agricultural sustainable projects. And part of it, a big part, 1.5 million in 2021, was for the Sad Good Funds, where they funded different both cereal, vegetable, and fruit seed breeding, and yeah. So this is an example of the private funding. Then you have maybe user financing, which can be so that the cost of the breeding or the seed production is put on the farmers or on the consumer citizens. But usually this contribution is still low. And for citizens, it also has to stay a fair but an affordable price. So this can also be challenging. And then you have the value chain based financing, where people throughout, organizations throughout the value chain, so manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, even supermarkets, separately or together in a cross-sector pool funding, can fund the money needed for breeding and seed production. So, but here it can be difficult to convince everyone of the benefits, and it needs to be well communicated. And it also can be pressure to have all these different stakeholders aligned, and therefore this can also be challenging. But some successful examples. So this also from Germany, where different value chain actors supported the breeding of different cauliflower varieties. And it was rather small scale, let's say, because it was just for one variety, but it's a good example. Also in Switzerland, there was the combined financing of organic companies for the development of organic sunflower seed plant varieties. And here, different members of the value chain were involved, and this was very successful. Also in Netherlands, France, and Switzerland, there was the introduction of different disease-resistant apple or potato cultivars that was supported with the organic market value chain actors. So these are just also some examples. If you want to read more about this, there's a lot of information also on the Engagement Biobreeding Initiative website, initiated by FIBO, and also other interesting papers. And this table gives a nice overview of all the different financing sources you can have, what type of contribution, and why they would contribute. And again, saying, of course, that many initiatives have a mix of those, not just one of those financing sources. So what we see at the moment is that there's a high degree of efficiency of the organic plant breeding initiatives, but that they also are still, financing is still insufficient and fragmented. So for this, in the live seeding project, we are trying to establish the European task force that will jointly promote financing for organic plant breeding. This we have been started doing by approaching foundations, banks, value chain actors, people from public institutions to together sort of brainstorm about how can we, in a more structural way, see how organic plant breeding can be financed better. And this we do in meetings together or one-on-one, to share different experiences from these institutions. What kind of instruments do they already use, or are they thinking about? So also promising options from other sectors maybe, and of course reaching out to their network to see what could be how we can establish this task force in a good way. So that was just a few slides from my side. I'll stop sharing now my screen. And I would like to introduce the first speaker, who is Ricardo Colmenares, who is a member of the board of trustees of the Triodos Foundation in Spain. He was trained as an ecologist and a biodynamist, and is a fierce supporter of the organic and biodynamic movement in Spain. And for many years, he was a risk analyst of the organic sector, and later he was also the director of the Triodos Foundation. And he will tell us a bit more about different financing initiatives in Spain, I think. The floor is yours.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Maria and Ilsa, for inviting me. I have a question. Maria, can you help me with the presentation? Or
Of course.
yeah, because I'm not very gifted in technology, so maybe I can go out from the meeting. Well, the point, as I understood, is particularly to speak about experience in crowdfunding, because Triodos Foundation in Spain, I have to say, Triodos is a Dutch bank, and we started in Spain in 2004 as a branch, and then we also established a foundation. And then I will speak about our experience in the Spanish market, but because I am going to focus on crowdfunding, crowdfunding is dealt with in different countries with different organizations. In Spain, there are quite a lot platforms of crowdfunding, but we, as foundation, we started with our platform because we wanted to focus on social farming, particularly organic school gardens. Yeah, then.
One moment, Ricardo, can you see my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay,
yes, thank you.
Just let me know when I have to change,
so
okay?
Next.
Okay.
So it is important to see that crowdfunding, I guess, maybe in any country in Europe, you can find platforms more or less dedicated to social impact initiatives. But this is a quite interesting way, not very much introduced in the organic farm initiatives, and in general, and in particular in the organic seed production. Just this picture very quickly. We have this view, the initiative as an entity, as a being, say, with a biography. And we look, if we see this line, this blue line, this is called in economy the dead valley of an initiative. When it starts without selling anything, then step by step start selling but not covering the cost, and then from here up there, then starts the business. It's called the break even, and then, well, this is taken from a general view of the evolution of an initiative, the business stage, different business stage. And it is clear for me, working in Triodos, that for each one of the stages, you need a kind of money. So we are working on the first steps with give money. We call also crowd giving, and then afterwards, when the initiatives can get a loan, credit, then it's the bank is coming afterwards, and then at the end you have the Triodos investments, the venture capital investment in the organization. When there are not enough assets to cover the risk of a loan, then you go for venture capital. This is a kind of evolutionary view. We have also a platform working maybe 4, 5, 6 years with this distributors generative money center, which is also an investment, a way of investment with very low interest, and including also the foundation in the Netherlands, which is give money. So this view, the crowdfunding, not looking at it as out of the blue, but looking at one kind of money you need, or you can afford, or you can look for when you are in a certain state. This could be the entrepreneurship as a whole, but could be also to start a new line of business, or in terms of seed production, a new variety. You have already an organization which can cover the cost, but then start a new line of a new variety, so a new line of business. Next, please. Yeah. Then focusing on the crowdfunding and match funding experience in Spain in Foundation Triodos, or Triodos Foundation. Well, we as I told before, we started with this platform to support the social agriculture sector, and we got in 7, 8 years this amount, so small amounts for each initiative. And more recently, we started with match funding. IMIDRA is an institution, a public institution in the Madrid region. They wanted to support the local markets from small farmers in the Madrid region that couldn't afford to sell their products in the I've seen the chat in the big market of Madrid, because they are small, they are not interested for supermarkets, etc. So we started this match funding with public money, but we have also an experience with the Veleda laboratories, which is very, very well known in Europe about homeopathy preparations and cosmetics. Then we did some pilot projects or some experience projects. So here are some figures, and well, the difference of the crowdfunding is you go with your project to the platform and to invite people on your own base of helpers, say, or customers, and others in the platform. You try to get a certain amount with a nice presentation. And the match funding is a crowdfunding one with a fund that is supporting your crowdfunding. So for that you need to collect the money. The money can could come from, for example, here in IMIDRA, which I will show later on, money from Europe, from the Ministry of Agriculture, etc. So public money, and then all private. Veleda is a private company, international company, and then the money of the fund. That means when you get a minimum amount of money, which is established in the basis of the match funding, then your money will be doubled. I think that's and we have seen in our experience of crowdfunding and match funding that the match fundings grow very fast, get more money, and then the use of the money from the fund give more revenues. We could say more revenues, because if you have 100,000 euros to support a certain sector, if you make a match with that fund, then you will get 200,000 or even more. I will show you some figures. So please, the next. Yeah, and we have started already a pilot campaign in Spain dedicated to the focus on the organic breeding sector, because we have no experience on that, and so we can get lessons to learn to then present later on a project to public funds, European or whatever. And then that means we have started already gathering the sponsors to get the fund. It's a small amount. We want to try out. Then we need a second crowd, which is as important as the first, because you need very good initiative where to put the money of the fund and to attract particular or private people as donors, which is the third crowd. The third crowd is the crowd of those people who are willing to support the initiative who has been selected by the crowd of the fund or the match fund. Third point. Next slide, please. And this I think is interesting in our knowledge of the market, because we are part of the bank, as a part of the legal initiative that work with different kind of money according to legal rules. And then I'm looking for support in each one of the three crowds I told you before, not only on the organic food chain value from farm to fork, to use this sentence, or the biodiversity, natural and cultural heritage connected with the climate change, but also people involved in the social care farming, in the school communities with organic gardens or home gardens, where many places in Spain, but also the land and stewardship and natural and agricultural, which is another movement, sometimes or many times linked to environmental organizations like the BirdLife in Spain or WWF, etc. So they are not directly involved in the organic sector, but so they are not exactly here, but they are connected and they are pushing and alliance of the sector. We in Trios Bank, we are members of a global alliance for banking on values, and we have another bank in Spain. This alliance is the Fiare Banca, which is connected with an ethical bank in Italy, but also, for example, for private donors, all the people connected with the natural health and integrative medicines. There are very good magazines in Spain, could be communicated through them in order to get the money for the projects. Also in a small scale, but interesting, is the fair trade sector. At least the consumers of fair trade, because fair trade is mainly from third world countries, but the consumers, they consume organic and fair trade, and also later in the slow food movement in Spain, which are some people there. Please, the next. Well, here there are some ideas I can share with you. I stress that this crowdfunding is something that needs crowd, which is difficult, but this is also a potential to involve people. It's more speaking about quality money than quantity. It's a potential for long-term financing, step by step, can make different crowdfunding for different activities or different varieties, whatever. Could be seen as a co-financing, blended financing, because depending on the stage of the organization, you can use different kind of money. Was before Pilar from Caraso Foundation was speaking about the La Osa. As far as I know, the bank also was involved in the financiation of this project, and the bank asked for a minimum of members of members, or a minimum of solvency. So the solvency can be covered or can be get by crowdfunding, for example. Or is this a potential to transform part of the donors crowd, not all, but part of could be somehow bounded to the organization is asking for the money. For that is more quality money to, that the donors can get part of the community that support agriculture. Not this coming to this idea, this whole idea of the organic movement. Potential to repeat campaigns from time to time. Potential to build a lending community if needed. Potential to build a community of guarantors if needed. We in Traders we do that. For example, for Waldorf schools, to have these communities which are not the project, but they are willing to support the investments, the financing of the project. Potential to gain visibility and to grow and go beyond the organic sector. I think this, next please. Yeah, this is an image of a real situation, a real project we did with the regional government in Madrid, in Midra, I told you before. So some people, producers, etc. And then here, the last one, please. Well, here you can see the money, where the money comes. No? And here is just to explain. We had this project with Midra. We did 3 years, one after the other, and there were 90,000 euros for the first year, 9,000 euros for the second, and 20,000 euros for the third, because of the success. And then these projects were put on the platform, and then they need to get 3,000 to get the other 3,000, and still they get more. But what the amazing was, this one was a supermarket that they get 14,000. So they from the money from the fund of 3,000, they get 14,000. So that means that with you make a match of let's say 20,000 euros, you can get easily 60,000 of investment for projects. That's all. I think that's the last one. Thank you for your listening.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. Great to have you. I would propose we go to the next speaker and then do question and answers maybe after the 3 presentations. So the next speaker is Irati Olaziregi Alberdi. Apologies for probably pronouncing that wrong. She's a climate and energy technician at the Orduna City Council and at the Ecospen Orduna service, which is a service that focuses on the municipality's food strategy with the agroecological approach, and also is working on the recovery and revaluation of local varieties. It's great to have you, and the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Maria, for the invitation, and thank you, Ilsa, for the presentation. Before starting, I have to say that I'm not the person who's been behind this project, but Marijo, my workmate, she can't be here today with us. Maybe she's listening, I don't know. So, well, I try to explain shortly the project, and I'll try to answer the questions if you have any, but I have to warn you that maybe I won't be able to answer everything, so I'm sorry for that. I'll share my screen.
Perfect.
Okay. So, Orduna is a small village. We live more or less 4,000 people here. It's located in the Basque Country, the northern Spain. And in 2006, Ecospen Orduna was created. It was like a small team to promote and dynamize the local agroecology. And that's when Marijo, my workmate, arrives here, and she starts to lead the food strategy of Orduna. Within that strategy, one of the main objectives was to recover the agrologic production linked to the soil. And there were several proposals to reach that objective, but it was really important to identify what should be the first step. And they realized that, well, the seeds used for production were the beginning of everything. So it was necessary to recover the local seeds first. However, it was really difficult to do this with horticultural seeds. So they decided to try first with fruits, with fruit trees. And for that, they worked in collaboration with the Basque Seed Network. It's an association, and they are professionals. So in collaboration with this association and also with the help of local producers, they started a prospection here in Orduna and also near the village. And they identified 11 different species of fruit trees, and they identified more or less 300 trees of those species. Then within each species there were different varieties. So they used those trees to multiply the different varieties, and then they created a reference orchard or a small garden to have all those varieties together. And after a few years, those trees started to produce, and when the trees started to produce, they were thinking what was the best way to market the product. For example, last Monday, I was with 3 visitors from Canada here in Orduna. They came to visit the project, and they were asking how do we market the product, because they had difficulties to market the apples, for example. I forgot to mention that they were 11 species, but mainly they were apples and pears. Okay. So these people from Canada were asking how do we market the product, and we told them that, well, here the best option is to transform the product, because as you can imagine, the apples are not like the apple of Snow White, are not apples, are not brilliant red and perfect apples. So it's really difficult to compete with the market and with the perfect apples that we see in supermarkets. So they made a small workshop to make apple juice, and well, nowadays different producers of the area go to the workshop to make their juice. They also make jam and other products. And this is very interesting because you don't depend on the beauty of the apple, and you can also increase the value. You can make an interesting value chain to market the product. Nowadays, the council give small trees or local seeds of local varieties to local producers, and we also make educational activities with the school of the town, so the children can see the trees, they can see the different fruits and varieties, they can recollect the fruits, and then they can make their own juice. So that way they see the process and they get to know the value of the local product. I would like to emphasize that it's really important the cooperation between the public institutions and the people involved in the sector, also with professional associations, like the SEEDS network here in the Basque Country, and also that it's necessary to work in a global view, just not to do small things without thinking too much, and that we need to take into account many issues related to our lifestyle in general, and everything is interrelated. So when we define well our line of work and our objectives, that's when everything makes sense. So thank you to everyone for being there and working for this, and thank you for your attention.
Great, thank you a lot, Irati, for your presentation. Thank you very much. I don't see any questions in the chat now, so I think we'll go to the next speaker. Irati, if you could.
Sorry, okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know how to.
Yeah, it worked. Thank you. So our next speaker is Eduardo Nicolini, and I think he'll be with us, but he's traveling, so I will share for the presentation his a video. Let me see. Advanced video. Do you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, then I start the video.
Yeah, now yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Edoardo Nicolini, and I'm a senior investment analyst at Fondazione Social Venture Giordano dell'Amore. Today, I'm going to introduce you the activity, the investment activity of the foundation, regarding especially the investing in the environmental field taking place by the foundation. So let me share the screen. Okay, so the foundation was established in 2017 in order to and aim to promote the impact investing and social innovation in Italy. We today we will focus in the patient capital offer activity, and so what is that? Is they provide capital for corporate, social enterprise, small medium enterprise, and startup. And what is providing capital? Providing capital means providing an equity investment, which is different from grant making activity. We do a sort of partnership approach. So we will invest money in the capital of the firm, and with a well-defined strategy, so that the strategy is is in place, and the entrepreneur would continue doing their business activity, and we will let him or her perform the business activity, the entrepreneur to do the business activity. The method that we use is called the social venture capital. So we usually invest in the early stage of the company through a venture capital approach. What does it mean? It means that we invest with a time horizon of a patient capital between 5 and 7 years. And so we do a partnership at the year 0, and at year 5 or 7, we do an exit activity. The field in which we operate is called impact investing. We'll see in the next slide what's the definition of impact investing. The impact investing can be defined by, so I think everyone would have came across the ESG investing and what is associated to the impact investing, but today we focus in a specific section of the impact investing. So the impact investing can be, let's say, the boundary of the impact investing are the intentionality of the business model. What does it mean? It means that the business activity, so the impact, so the solution in a social environmental issue is embedded in the business model performed by the company. So the aim to solve a social problem, an environmental problem, is the aim of the company, the final aim of the company. There are 2 different approaches inside the impact investing. One is called finance first approach. So when there is a trade-off between a impact generation and financial return, the finance first investor, they tend to go more for the financial return. And instead, the impact first approach, which is the one taking place by the foundation, if there is a trade-off between impact generated and financial return, we will stand more for the impact. There has to be
social, pues nos importa más la repercusión social, el impacto social, como se dice en inglés.
Otherwise, it's poor philanthropy, and so it's not more impact investing.
Si no, no se trataría de inversiones de impacto. Definiríamos esto con 4 criterios. Intencionalidad, en primer lugar, como he mencionado antes. La búsqueda de una solución social que satisfaga una necesidad social, cultural, medioambiental. Luego, que se pueda medir. Y luego la adicionalidad. Normalmente estos inversores de impacto social invierten en un campo en el que un inversor convencional no lo haría. La última, como mencionaba antes, es la recuperación de la inversión. Tiene que haber una mínima recuperación de la inversión, porque si no sería pura filantropía. Vamos a centrarnos ahora en las financiaciones que llevamos a cabo. Bueno, como decía antes, funcionamos como socio, establecemos una alianza y procuramos estar lo menos involucrados posible, mantenernos lo más al margen posible. Proporcionamos capital para que se pueda llevar a cabo las acciones. Las herramientas que utilizamos en este tipo de inversiones son instrumentos del capital. No deuda, la deuda la hacen los bancos. El capital se proporciona por parte de los inversores. Normalmente vemos un objetivo y desde el primer día establecemos algunos indicadores claves de rendimiento para el primer año o para los siguientes 5 años. Suele ser una mezcla entre indicadores claves de rendimiento relacionados con la empresa, pero junto con ellos procuramos establecer objetivos claves de rendimiento que tienen que ver con ese impacto, con esa repercusión social, cultural o medioambiental. Y establecemos después del primer año el objetivo para los siguientes 5. El inversor es parte del equipo, queremos conocer a todo el equipo que trabaja. Entendemos que va a estar ahí en las actividades de esa organización. Y con este enfoque se ofrece también al emprendedor, y estamos hablando de un periodo de 5 a 7 años. Se puede vender de vuelta al emprendedor, a otro inversor que esté interesado.
That are interested in the corporate that we invested in. Usually we structure 2 different tranches when we enter in an investment. The second tranche is the trigger of the second tranche usually is a mix between business KPI and also impact KPI. The average ticket that we in which we invest is usually 200 to 300K. And
normalmente estamos hablando de 200 a 300.000.
Other co-investors. So we are not alone in the investments. There are other partners that usually are involved and they co-invest along us. If you are interested in this type of activity, what I would suggest you is going online and search for impact funds that are operating in your country or in your specific region and in the specific environmental or agricultural field. So there are many, and you should target them, prepare a presentation, a pitch deck, a business plan, and be prepared for the for assessing them, for looking for any investments. Coming back to the foundation activity, so you can see we have done 56 investments. Out of these 56, 7 are in the environmental field. And now I'm going to give you 2 examples of our investments in the environmental field. So the first one I want to mention you is called Agrorobotica. It's an innovative startup established in 2017 in the precision farming and agriculture management. It has developed Spyfly, a pest trap that is installed in the field and photograph, recognize, and count harmful insects, and they transfer all these data about the insects in real time through the smartphone of the farmer, so that the farmer can intervene immediately in case of attacked by these harmful insects. We have done an investment through equity and semi-equity, so there were 2 different tranches, and the impact that the investment rationale was the impact, and the first is the helping the farmer, because there would be less loss in the crop thanks to this pest trap. And there will be also, related to this, for the farmer, less economic loss, because an immediate intervention would lead to a less damage by the harmful insects. Alongside that, there will be a help for the environment, because there will be the reduction of the use of pesticides, because they will be used only at a specific target period and not as done before, like using that in a huge amount. So it will be focusing the use of pesticides, and so there will be a reduction and the help for the environment. Another example I want to share with you of our investments is in Bella Dentro. Bella Dentro aim at solve a problem. The problem is that fruit and vegetables usually are discarded for poorly aesthetic criteria, and these criteria are imposed by the cross distribution. And so what they do is they go directly to the farmer in order to buy this discard product that the gross distribution doesn't want, and they sell it in a store that they've own their own store, or transform it. They process this type of product, for example, through a drying process, or they came up with juice in order to sell it to the customer directly. And in this case, so the investment rationale was the reduction of waste in the food industry as the first things. So this is the help for the environment. The second one was the help in the economic help to the farmers. And this is due to the fact that Bella Dentro is buying the product that before were discarded, and so there was no revenue, and now is the new type of revenue for the farm itself. So this is a type of investments in which we in the environmental field, and I hope to have transferred you the aim also of the impact, how it is measured, and what is like the impact rationale that led us to these two type of investments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eduardo, for that recorded presentation. I'm not sure if you're with us in the meeting now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm here.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. During the sharing, I was not able to see the chat, but I see there's some questions. The first one is
I have them. I can send them to you.
Yeah.
I see the chat now, so I could go to the first one. So the first one is for Ricardo. With regard to your new campaign, at what specific time can I apply with a specific initiative? Is it in February, or is it almost impossible to get information at the Triodos branch in Valencia? Could you be so kind to give some more information?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I have no other figures in my mind, but I guess not before March. But I think that the best is that you send us your email, your question to the foundation, to the Triodos Foundation in Spain. So when we start the phase, the stage of the campaign to get the projects to be financed or to go into the match funding, then we can introduce or to get in contact with you. But then I think not before March.
Okay, thank you. Then there's also a question, I think it's for Eduardo, about the explaining the terms between terms of equity and semi-equity and how they work.
Yes. So can you hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So the difference between equity and semi-equity. So the equity side is a stake in the company since day one of the investments. And as a investor in the equity side, you have the right, for example, on the some decision about the company, and also in the distribution of the gains each year is on the company. Instead, the quasi-equity instruments through this type of investments, at the moment of the investment, you are not an equity holder, and so you are not in charge of taking some decision, voting rights, and so on. But at some condition, certain condition, you can transform your quasi-equity stake into an equity one, so that give you this type of right. Usually, the quasi-equity rights, like they give you more a sort of different rights, and they is done on the purpose to be more similar to a sort of debt side. So it's a fixed income terms, and at certain condition can be converted into the proper equity side. So I hope that the reply was fine. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Eduardo, for that reply. I also hope it was clear. If you have any other question, please put them in the chat. You can also raise your hand or unmute, but I don't see any at the moment. I maybe have a question that is more for Irati, as the Orduna City Council is partly funding this kind of this project for cultivated biodiversity, and how do you think you can ensure that if other projects or focused on agroecology could also always sort of also comprehend and see how organic breeding or organic cultivated biodiversity could be part of that? How to ensure that in multiple projects, let's say, if you have one focusing on apple or a pear, but also in other crops, maybe.
Okay, I'm not sure if I understand the question well. I think they made this project with apples because it was really difficult. Okay, I'm sorry. They made it with apples and pears because it was the easiest one, and I think it would be really interesting to do the same thing with horticultural species, and also maybe with a species to feed animals for the fields, because here we don't have that much agriculture. We have more animals. So I think they are also working in some species to feed animals, but I guess it's more difficult because we lost them a lot. So there is harder work there.
Okay, great. Thank you. And maybe a question for Ricardo. As you see this match funding opportunity now in Triodos Spain, do you think this could be scaled up somehow through Europe or other Triodos branches in the rest of Europe?
Yes, for that reason, we want to start to have a first experience to share with other part of the bank, because the foundation in Spain is working next to but it is a different organization. So we would like to involve the bank in Spain, but also in other countries, because the project is international. And I know that, for example, in the Netherlands, there is a lot of help for the sector, in particular the organic seed production, through this institution, the Louis Volk Institute, and other organizations. So it's a question to show that we have these results. We learned that pros and contras, and then we would like to share with something on the hands. So we expect to do more, and particularly we can get money from the public funds, because then the project could be larger, no? And more important, with much more impact.
Okay, that's great to hear. Thank you. I have maybe another question also for Eduardo. As you were explaining two initiatives that you fund, and they are maybe a bit more focused on like technology or climate smart farming, etc. Do you see that also more agroecological or cultivated biodiversity projects could be a more focus from your organization?
Yeah, thank you for this question. So, as a venture capital approach, usually we as a foundation, but also other players, seeks more to find investment that combine both the technological sides with the, for example, application on the agriculture field. So this is the traditional way in which and sector in which venture capital focus their type of investments. But I can assure that also the traditional or analogical, let's say, business models, so those that in which they if applied to let's say investments in traditional agriculture and for this type of reason can be also funded through equity instruments and to the like through a venture capital. So it's like the most common part is applying also technological tools to this type of investments, but in the business model, but they can be also invested the traditional agricultural fields. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm not sure if there are any other questions, or maybe from your side, Maria. Then maybe we are 4 minutes ahead of time, but we could have an earlier break, maybe. Or...
Yeah, that's not a problem. We can close here, maybe. Is that okay?
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you very much for the speakers. I think it was a great input from your side.
Okay, thank you very much, Ilsa, to you too, to moderate this session, and also thanks to the speakers. So after this interesting panel, we are going to take 15 minutes break. In the last part of the webinar, we will share with Gebhard Rosmanith the experience of Biggenheim Starwood in Germany and the network of biodynamic organic seeds and breeding. So that will be very interesting, so stay with us. I propose to reconnect at 11:45. Like this, we will have this 18 minutes break. Thank you very much, and see you at 11:45. I'm very pleased to introduce you to Gebhard Rosmanith. He's an agricultural engineer. He has been working in biodynamic vegetable production for 20 years. From 2001 and 2022, he was the CEO of Biggenheim Starwood. And since July 2022, he has been a freelance consultant for organic seeds and breeding. He participates in lots of organizations. So he's in the board member. He's a board member, sorry, of EcoPB, the European Consortium for Organic Plant Breeding. He's a member of the working group against GMO of Bowel in Germany. He's a member of the seed expert group in IFOAM Organic Europe. He's also a member of the steering committee of the IFOAM seed platform, a board member of the umbrella organization for organic plant breeding in Germany, and a member of the initiative for genetically engineered free seeds and breeding, e.g. Starwood. Gebhard, he will share with us some lessons that he has learned over the years for the potential success of a small and medium enterprise in the organic seed and breeding sector. Gebhard, it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for coming, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you for the invitation. I want to present the model of Bingenheimer Saatgut and the network, which is the basis of our work. And I hope you enjoy my presentation, and maybe I can give you some ideas how to move forward with organic seed and breeding in Europe. So I will share my screen. So you see it?
Yes.
And I will go to the presentation modus. So now we can
Perfect,
start.
Gebhard. Yes.
So what I want to share with you today, I want to give you some idea why the network, which Bingenheimer Saatgut is part of, was built or set up in the past. I will give you a presentation of the network, which is...
Voy a presentar la red.
The network is described with three main
La red tiene tres pilares principales, tres órganos principales: el cultivo, el mejoramiento, la producción de semillas y la venta de semillas.
The business model we
Y
have.
después voy a compartir con ustedes nuestro modelo de negocios que es necesario abordar. Por supuesto, también con los socios de la red, y al final les daré algunas perspectivas, alguna panorámica de la red. En primer lugar, los motivos para crear la red. La red se llama Círculo Iniciativa.
English Initiative Circle, and this group, this network is intended to give an answer to the organic movement on different topics and problems and tasks. The increasing dependency of the organic sector on conventional seed companies and their varieties, mainly developed under and for conventional conditions. The increased use of biotechnology in conventional vegetable breeding. So I have to tell you first, maybe the initiative circle is working in vegetables, not in cereals. The increasing use of hybrids in horticulture and organic farming. The increasing deficit of food quality in conventionally bred varieties. The increasing loss of biodiversity in the agricultural systems. And the minor offer of organic seeds from the conventional seed companies to the organic farming. And this maybe this map you know very well, but when the initiative circle was founded in the 80s of the last century, people had a kind of vision, but also an idea what's going on in the conventional seed market, and therefore today we have it's very old from 2008, but we have now merged very big entities. You know that Bayer has bought Monsanto, Syngenta was bought by China, and DuPont, and now they have built up the Hazera group. So it is really a very intensive concentration in the seed market, which makes us concerned. So the network, which was built up, it's called the Initiative Circle Network of Biodynamic and Organic Market Gardeners, to keep and improve the independence on seeds for the organic sector. This is the goal. So it was created in 1984, the first time, by biodynamic market gardeners and farmers. They came together to share their experiences, their knowledge in seed production first, in seed multiplication. And it was a kind of exchange group, but soon it started also the selling of seeds. So the guiding principles of the initiative circle are biodynamic and organic agriculture, should be based on organic seeds and on biodynamic organic bred varieties. The next principle, biodynamic seeds and biodynamic bred varieties should reach market standard. And varieties must remain our common cultural heritage, and not the ownership of private companies. The bottom Sorten sind Kulturgut means in English, varieties are common heritage. The partners in the circle. I have told you three main groups: the seed producers, the breeders associations. We have two associations in our network. One is Kultursaat for biodynamic breeding, and one is Saatgut, also a German initiative and German association in the north of Germany for organic bred varieties. Saatgut joined the group in 2006, I suppose. Kultursaat was at the very beginning partner. And the third pillar is the seed company Bingenheimer Saatgut, which sells biodynamic and organic seeds, and of course, not mainly, but in a big part, organically bred varieties. We have also international cooperation with other biodynamic and organic seed initiatives. For example, Sativa, De Bolster, Rheinsaat in Austria, and Culinaris. These are this is not complete, but they are very, it's a good friendship to these organizations. Let's have a look to the seed producers. Within Europe, we have nearly 80 farmers and market gardeners who are producing the seeds for our selling, for our market. They are located from Denmark in the north, and you cannot see it, but the map has also is also naming Sechem initiative in Egypt. This is the only one organization outside from Europe. Most production is in Germany and Netherlands, but we have also very successful multiplicators in Italy and others, in France, of course. So we are focusing on organic production under the level of private associations. EU organic is also possible, but is not our focus. We want to have a very intensive, clear quality management, and the associations, they give us they help us in this way. Choice and assignment by reason of the location. A farmer must have the right location and the climate conditions, and therefore it is necessary for us to spread the risk in production of seeds. And then the expert knowledge, facilities, and infrastructure of a farm, of an entity, and main and very important issue is motivation and sharing our common values. People who are working on seeds for our network, for us, they must share our values, our ideas. Then next is the Breeders Association. I will focus here on Kultursaat because it is our sister organization directly from the very beginning. It is a charity association, and the Kultursaat supports the biodynamic breeding since 1994. We have quite 30 locations of breeding projects within biodynamic farms in Germany, Netherlands, and Switzerland. And the activities are, which are organized and financed by the association, breeding research and methodologies as an alternative to the genetic engineering, to laboratory methodologies. We are looking very intensively for the inner quality, taste, etc. And of course, the development of new varieties. Meanwhile, more than 80 new varieties are registered by Kultursat. And the association is also responsible for the registered varieties in maintaining and keeping the quality. And of course, it is very important to have an education in breeding. Since more than 12 years, we have now breeding courses. They are running 2 years. Every course is running 2 years, and it is a kind of practical expert knowledge sharing, and of course also education in special every 6 weeks on a breeding farm, breeding location, and it is very well asked for. And the association is also responsible for public relations and communication, what we do, what they do. The seed company has a long history because already since 1987, organic seeds are distributed, organic seeds produced by members of the initiative circle. The distribution was done by Bingenheimer community of people with special needs, which is located in Bingenheim. And to improve and support the enlarging of the organic seed business, it was necessary to set out the distribution of seeds from the Bingenheimer community. And the company Bingenheimer Saatgut was established in 2001 by 3 main members, by the initiative circle, represented by the farmers and breeders who are working inside, and the community, the Bingenheimer community, and a foundation. It is the Software AG Foundation. And meanwhile, the company is raised to quite 100 employees. At the beginning, we have been 11, and now we are 10 times more. The tasks of the company is the coordination of the seed production. It begins with shipping basic seeds to the farmers who are producing seeds, and then giving them advice, visiting them during the season, and helping them to have success. Very important is the exchange of knowledge. We have diverse possibilities to do that. And the advice for the producers, the controlling during the season. The maintaining of varieties is, meanwhile, is also part of the task of the company. We are organizing the maintaining of the varieties, also for those varieties who are in the responsibility of the Kultursat Association. The seed processing, when seeds are harvested, they come as a kind of raw material to Bingenheim, and the first step is to clean and calibrate the seeds. Therefore, we have the normal classical machinery equipment. Also, the visual and manual control is very important. And if necessary, because of seed diseases, mainly fungus diseases, in some cases we have to make a hot water treatment to the seeds. Next is the seed quality management, the purity tests, germination tests, and therefore it is necessary to be very, very clear and the international seed standard has to be kept. Then we have a kind of special seed vigor test to have an idea how strong the seeds are, and the tests are made in special climate chambers with conditions, controlled condition. And important is also the seed health examination to have a look for fungus spores, etc. Then we have the packaging, the distribution, and the marketing. Packaging by machines, packaging by hand, and here we are working since the very beginning, also in cooperation with the community, the Bingenheim community for handicapped people. This is important for us to keep their workplaces also in the company. The storage of the seeds is under controlled conditions, and then the seeds go out to the customers, and we have also to do the marketing task for the whole network. Developments are always necessary. We have to develop the product range every year. We have new varieties in our assortment. The varieties are tested in a testing station quite in the near of Bingenheim. We have to train our purchase team to have a clear knowledge on the varieties when customers ask for. And we have, of course, consulting and information to our customers. We do it in so-called field days every year in various locations, mainly in locations which are also our customers. We do information for our customers, and we visit. We have a team which visiting our customers during the season. And the structure of our customers: we have more than 4,000 organic certified market gardeners and farmers, more than 50,000 home gardeners. This is also very important for us, not only the professional farmers, but also the home gardeners, to give them possibility to get the seeds from us. Quite 40 seed companies within all of Europe. They offer, which are offering organic seeds, and quite 20 organic wholesalers and about 400 organic retailers. They sell mainly the small hobby gardener packages. Our network cooperation in practice. Very important fundamentals are the information exchange at the meetings 2 times a year about seed production, costs and prices, projects, varieties, and strategies. Therefore, I have to say we have also a kind of it's a group which is representing the farmers, the seed multipliers, and with this group of 5 people, we are discussing every year the prices, the quality problems, and an intensive common co-working. In summer, we meet on farms, and therefore we have practical education and mainly focusing on certain crops which are produced on these farms. Here we can see a farm in the middle of Europe near Göttingen, and they are specialized in onion breeding and onion seed production. And in autumn, we have both of the organizations, Kultursaat and Bingenheimer Saatgut, have the general assemblies, and we have also discussions on strategies, theoretical education. And in winter, there is always a breeders' conference where we have exchange education, meeting of crop groups, and discuss what is going on in a breeding sector. Our business model. As I have said, we have the breeding, seed production, and seed selling as three organs of the whole organism. And we work intensively with donors, with market partners, with international partners, and customers. So the financing of breeding and seed work, I think this is very important also for you to hear what is our concept. And I will show it, and I will go with you through the whole line, the whole chain, from the breeding to the product and back the financing streaming. First, we have the breeding, the research, and the development and the maintaining, which is mainly focused in the Kultursaat Association. And the product which comes, the outcome is a variety. The variety is taken over by the seed company, Bingenheimer Saatgut, and seeds are produced, and the seeds are sold to the seed traders or directly to farmers and gardeners. Farmers and gardeners use the seeds, and they sell their products to traders, processors, or consumers, or in every case, at the end, to consumers. This is the streamline of the products. And on the other hand, we have the streamline of the financing, and there we have to distinguish three qualities of money, qualities of budget. The purchase, the classical purchase money, and then we have project-related grants, and we have donations, which is meant free usable donations. And the purchase money, of course, it is the whole group of where real products are sold and paid. From the consumers to the farmers, the product, and the farmers and seed traders have to pay for the seeds. The project-related grants, which are mainly given by partner federations, for example, the Demeter Association, made from partners of the value chain. Ilsa has mentioned, for example, the fair breeding, which was money directly given for development of cauliflower varieties, or the government facilitation mainly for research or development issues. And donations are given mainly for the research, but also for the development of varieties, and sometimes also for maintaining. It comes also from the partners of the value chain or the federations, but in the main part from foundations and private donors. So you can see here the breeding aspect and the research aspect is mainly financed by grants and donors. But not alone. We have also made a kind of license agreement. We don't call it licenses, because licenses normally are duty. but we call it voluntary variety development contribution. And it comes from the seed company to the association, to the Breeders Association. And it is always a kind of a part of our turnover, which we are doing with the varieties developed by Kultursat. Nearly 10% of our turnover we give to the development and research organization. And then you can see it is a direct flow from the consumer to the development, to the research through the company, through the seed business. How to market varieties and have a successful seed production. Some issues. For the seed, it is very important to have an outer quality, the quality of the seed, which is meant by the germination and seed health, etc. On the other hand, you have the variety, and this is a variety has always a kind of inner quality, the quality of the variety, the characteristics of the product. To fulfill expectations in quality of seed, which is meant seed health, germination, seed purity, special seed lasts like the pills, delivery service, client service, customer consulting. And therefore we have always look for price and performance, the quality of the product, quality of services, but very important is the integrity and the trust. Customers must trust to our products and our vision, our idea, and our management together, our common cooperation. Successful partner-oriented marketing needs when we have on the one side the breeding, development of varieties, and on the other hand the use of varieties, production, trade, and consumption. Yes, you have an offer of the performance, the variety, and on the other hand, on the use hand, the demand, the needs of the farmers. Therefore, we need a kind of mediation instead of separation. The trade, the seed trade, like Bingenheimer Saatgut, the main idea is not to divide the two groups and to have a maximum of personal interest. So to mediate the two groups, to bring them together and to discuss the demand and the offer. Of course, you have requirements and expectations regards to the varieties. The breeders have to say what is possible, what is feasible in breeding. Not everything is feasible in organic breeding, especially when you work on open pollinated varieties. You work without any laboratory techniques, etc. Not everything is possible like in conventional breeding. This must be accepted. This must be known and accepted, and then you can come together. And communication and listening is very, very important in this issue. Breeders speak about their methods and the ideas, and then on the other hand, there can be set up a common targeting, and therefore you need agreements instead of requirements. And when you have reached that, it is a kind of enabling from the farmer's side, and the breeders can try to realize and do their best. And then you have a commitment instead of dependency or arbitrariness. This is our our idea to work together with the whole diverse partners. We have to advise and information the farmers, traders, and processors, and we do it when we go to fairs, exhibitions, for example, Biofach, the most important exhibition, but we also go to the regional exhibitions, to wholesaler fairs, and we speak about our idea, our vision, our work. And very important for us was the special exhibit on organic breeding at the Biofach 2018, a starting point also for the BioVerita project. Maybe you have heard on that. I will come to this a little bit later. Here is the BioVerita. This is a project. Now it is more than 10 years old. It has been set up by Sativa in Switzerland, but meanwhile it is in Switzerland, Austria, Italy, I suppose also in France and Germany. And BioVerita is the goal of BioVerita is the indication of organic breeding at the point of sale. A variety is not only an organic product, it is the variety is bred organically, and of course also the seeds must be organically multiplied, so you have the complete product from the very beginning, from the development of the variety to the end product in a kind of real organic. And we have also done some trials to improve the marketing of vegetables together with the name of the variety, like we know it yet by, for example, apples or other fruits. We know it also from potatoes. Many people yet know that, not all, but many. Potatoes the varieties differ intensively, so it is helpful to know something about the variety. And we know it, of course, of wine. People who like wine or fruit, they know also it is helpful to look for the right variety. And for vegetables, it is the same. You have so different quality aspects in the varieties that we should speak about that and give people a chance to find the variety again when they go again to the market places. Variety making by name. So this was the business model, and then I have to share with you some outlook and perspectives. A very big challenge we are facing at the moment, the new genetic engineering and the impact on organic agriculture at the whole organic sector. As you know, in summer 2018, the European Court decided everything is genetic engineering, but now it is a kind of deregulation proposed by the Commission. And when the proposal comes to reality, we will have no traceability, no information for growers, no information for trade and processing, no information for consumers, and the end of freedom of choice. We have a loss of confidence for the GMO-free sector. Until now, it is not clear how the decision will be made, but this will be the worst case we are faced at the moment. And therefore, I think it is time for decisions to be made with GMO or without GMO. And for this, we have to be prepared. And our work, I'm sure it will be much more important in the future. The main topics for the company: to improve the seed production, the enlargement of production on member farms. We want to look for new partners in suitable regions of Europe. We have to improve the education in production methods and techniques. And we want to go on in developing social investment models. For example, the company Ingenheimer Saatgut is buying machines and is renting the machines to those farms who need it only, for example, 1 or 2 weeks a year. So the machines can go from one farm to the next one, and the company is the owner of the machine and is renting for money or for free. So this is both is possible. We have to, of course, always to improve the service, the enlargement of the logistics and space for processing, storage, and distribution, the integration of new employees, which is always a big task, and also here to develop social enterprise models. And the improvement of our whole network is mainly to keep the integration of all stakeholders into developing processes, also in crisis times like we have now. Developing of social network models for seeds. This is, for example, focused also in paying models, and common projects with partners of other countries. So it is for us not a task or a goal to go directly in other countries. We are always looking for partner organizations in other countries to work together and not to do the work completely by ourselves in whole Europe. The association, the Breeders Association, stands for a fair and transparent legal framework, and this is what I'm doing now, to work for the legal framework. The association wants to enhance the education in breeding methods and techniques, wants to improve the breeding, wants to enlarge the range of new varieties, and is always looking for the development of new partnerships and financing models, as Ilsa has mentioned, the Fair Breeding project with very, very nice marketing partners. We have a responsibility, we feel it, and therefore the network is standing to improve the agrobiodiversity, and therefore maintaining of all varieties, which is very valuable, of course, but it is not sufficient at all. There is a need for permanent developing of new varieties in adaptation to changing environment conditions and the needs of farmers and consumers. The advantages by growing varieties derived from biodynamic or organic breeding to keep the transparency and trust of consumers, to maintain and develop the diversity of tastes, regional specialities, adaptable crops, maintaining and ensuring of best food qualities for consumers, which is a main issue for us, and very, very important to stop or minimum to reduce the dependency of agriculture and livelihood on few global conventional enterprises. For the future, we have the responsibility to help that a consequent, sustainable, holistic, organic agriculture has to be saved also, based on biodynamic organic bred varieties, biodynamically or organically maintained, and reproducible and fertile varieties. Reproducible and fertile, very important. So we have a global responsibility also. because Europe has is an example and has very example impacts in the whole world, in particular to emerging and developing countries. So the consequent organic breeding stands for protection of breeders' right and the chance to use varieties for new breeding. And the protection on farmers' rights to use their own seeds. The preconditions, therefore, are appropriate legal framework, which we are fighting for, suitable varieties, not sterile, but fertile and reproducible, no GMO, neither transgenetic nor cisgenetic or genome editing, because in many parts of the world, free access to seeds of suitable varieties is existential for the survival of rural population. This to save is also our task in Europe. And now I'm at the end and want to share you this wonderful seed picture mandala, which I have found in New Delhi during the I4AM conference in 2017. Thank you so much for your attention, and yeah, now I'm waiting for some questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gerard. It has been very, very nice to see all of this, all the picture of the work you have done together. There are some questions for you. Let's take the first one. First is thanking you very much. I think that this one is from Frank. Geber, for explanations about some technical organizational. Thank you very much, Geber, sorry, for explanation about the technical and organizational aspects. One question: do you sterilize seeds cleaning machine in order to prevent the spread of microbial diseases? If yes, how? We saw clean machines mainly mechanic. No, that was the answer from another participant. Yeah, that's the question.
Yeah, as I have shown, our method is the hot water treatment, and we are working close together with our partner organization Sativa in Switzerland. They have developed the steam treatment and the hot air treatment, and some crops are in some cases of some crops it is better to work with steam or hot air, but the hot water treatment is in many cases the best choice, because the heat is going inside the seed. So when you have, for example, bacteria or fungus, they can also be deleted inside the seed, not only on the surface. But Jelena wants to take the floor. Jelena is my former colleague from Bingenheimer Saatgut in the seed quality department.
Yeah, hello. I just wanted to mark, it's not the question was about cleaning machines, not the cleaning seeds. So I already answered in the chat that we do clean machines, but we don't sterilize them. We use a high air pressure or something like that, like compressor, but we do not sterilize in general the machines for seed cleaning. Just as a comment.
Okay, thank you, Jelena.
Thank you. There is another question. I think it was from Michelle. She's asking, what BRM do you multiply or breed? Conservation varieties, organic varieties, heterogeneous material?
Pardon, what is the random?
What is the plant reproductive material do you multiply or breed?
Okay.
Are they conservation varieties, organic varieties, heterogeneous material?
Yes. First, we have only open pollinated varieties, no hybrids. So at the beginning of the initiative, people multiplied existing varieties from other companies, from conventional companies in the 80s and 90s. And from the 90s on, more and more organically, in particular biodynamically bred varieties are registered. So the now we have nearly 100 varieties, new bred varieties, and the rest are varieties which are elder varieties from conventional companies, but also varieties from other organic seed suppliers, partner organizations like De Bolster in Netherlands, or Sativa, Switzerland, or Rheinsaat in Austria. Also some new bred varieties. And all varieties we are offering are produced completely organically. We have only organic seeds in our assortment. So I can say quite a quarter of the whole range of our varieties is meanwhile organically bred. Maybe a third, because we have a lot of flowers also and herbs, but in vegetables it is quite a third of our assortment.
Thank you. There is another question. How good the current Commission proposals, so in marketing and new GMOs, help or hinder your work?
Okay. The NGO, the NGT,
GMO,
the GMO derogation proposal is absolutely only it is a tackle, it is a challenge, it is a problem for us, of course, for everybody who is working in organic. There is no positive aspect there. The only small positive aspect is that at the moment it seems that the prohibition of NGTs in organic can be saved, and so this is a very, very small positive aspect in this. At the regards to the PRM proposal of the Commission, there are some positive aspects, of course, and the one positive aspect is that what we have reached in the organic regulation to have a possibility for organic varieties to have an easier access to market. And there is a kind of 7 years temporary experiment to develop adapted protocols for the registration tests, for the DOS tests. This has to be set also in the seed law. Otherwise, it is only in the organic regulation, but the seed law has to manage this, of course, because all aspects of the registration of the DOS test, etc., are set in the seed regulation. So therefore, it is helpful to find it again. And also the OHM, the organic heterogeneous material, which is now possible to sell, it must be also managed in the seed law. Otherwise, it is only it's not stable. But there are also some problems, and the main problems we are faced at the moment is the proposal of to have in the future also the value of cultivation and use for vegetables and fruits. So we cannot see that this make any sense, but the Commission wants to improve the sustainability aspects, etc. with that. But the direct link to the NGT derogation proposal is clear. So we fear that it is an instrument to make an open door for the NGTs in the future, to have also the value for cultivation and use, the VSCU testing, because it is enlarged. It is now called VSCU, S for sustainable, and this will be a big problem for all organic breeders, of course, and mainly for vegetables and fruits. There are some more, but now maybe it is enough for now.
Perfect. Thank you. There is another question about how to handle health pests concerning quarantine pests, for example, in tomatoes. And then there is a comment saying that small individual seed producers cannot afford to pay for seed health tests. And this is only possible for bigger structures, I guess. When small producers want to sell seeds to professional producers, this issue is critical.
I can see that it is critical, but it is also mandatory to do that. Otherwise, on the one hand, you will get problems with the authorities when seeds are not free from pests, from plant pests. This is the one problem. The next problem are the customers. When you sell seeds which are infected, for example, by fungus or bacteria or virus, and the farmers now will then have problems on the field, and so you will have a big problem to sell again in the future. So therefore you have to do this. And at the beginning, I told you we have been 11 employees in the company, and before the Bingenheimer community has done this job, the distribution of the seeds. From the beginning, the quality testing was part of the work, and we have done it always. And this is necessary, and you must take the money and do that as good as you can. And the quarantine diseases, of course, they are a big problem, because there is a kind of zero tolerance sometimes, and zero tolerance in nature is quite impossible to reach. But also there we have to do that, otherwise we are not allowed to sell the seeds, and therefore we try to get the plant passport for every lot, for example, in red beet, etc., or beans or tomatoes. And therefore it is necessary to have a look on the field, in the greenhouses, on the plants directly, not only on the seeds. So the beginning of the testing is on the plant side, on the fields, and then when the culture is the crop is free from the pests, then you have the plant passport, you can sell the seeds. And it is much cheaper to go directly on the fields than to use, for example, 3,000 corns from something which is very, very expensive to do that.
There is another question asking if is there anybody else developing a social model like yours in the domain of cereals or fodder?
It is not exactly the same model, but the cereal breeders in the biodynamic movement, they also work since partly more than 40 years. And they are not directly organized like our network, but they are working close together and try to improve also their business. And in Germany, a company was founded a few years ago, which is selling for the seeds from 3 initiatives. They are working together. Switzerland, Getreidezüchtung Peter Kunz in Dottenfelder Hof, and the third one is I'm not quite sure that Karl Josef is also part of, but I suppose. A small difference is that the breeders' organizations of cereals, they want and they say they need license the fee model, the license model. In vegetables we have not. All vegetable varieties which are registered by Kultursaat or Saatgut e.V. or Bingenheimer Saatgut, the varieties are not protected. They are free for everybody, and this is a kind of our convincement of our vision. And we have to make our business to sell very good seeds and good varieties, and therefore our customers will come back. And we will not try to we don't want to give seed variety protection on the varieties. But this is our special vision, our special idea.
There are some questions related to seed treatment with heat, but your colleague answered already in the chat. The question was if the treatment, heat treatment influenced germination, and asking for more details about heat treatment. So she said that there's, in the framework of live seeding, there's going to be a workshop with Bingenheim, and she was saying that sometimes it influences negatively or positively the germination. I don't know if you want to add something.
That's fine. That's fine. It is of course not easy to do that, but you can do this, and we are. It is not a kind of how can I tell? We are always ready to share our experience. So
perfect. She said also that you were open always to share your experience. Perfect. And the last question, it's about again legislation. Coming back to the legislation, and what I think it was Michelle. She was asking, what about the abrogation of Article 13 in the organic regulation, abrogated in the Article 18 of the marketing proposal? What do you think?
Sorry, my head is not to know what article.
I don't have all the articles in mind, but I guess that she's talking about the article that it's going to the fact that organic heterogeneous material is going to be deleted. I think Michelle, write something if it's not this point, yours. It's going to be deleted in the organic regulation, and it's going to become just heterogeneous material through the regulation proposal that we have now.
Yeah, okay. When the negotiations of the organic regulation had been finished and the OHM had been set up, I had a negotiation with the head of NACTUINBAU, the governmental authority for registration tests, and VCU in Netherlands, and he said it will not be possible to keep it only for organic. So we have to make it, to open it for everybody. Otherwise, it will not be stable under juristic view. And so it is a kind of normal consequence that in the seed regulation proposal now, it has changed from organic heterogeneous material to heterogeneous material. First, I would say it is positive because a lot of small farmers who are working organically or traditionally or what else in Europe, who want to use their own seeds and to have an exchange of their special farm-safe seed lines, varieties or not, varieties, populations, will be able to sell it in the future when HM is realized, because it is no longer focused on certified organic. So you can work as a small farmer in the Abruzzo, for example, in Italy, or in the Apennine, and you can sell your HM, whether you are organic or not. So this is, in my point of view, it is positive. Negative will be that they want to delete the OHM in the organic regulation, and they want to narrow down the HM for self-pollinators for only few crops. So this is a very, very bad idea at the moment they have, and I hope it will be kept as it is for every kind of crop, also for the cross pollinators, and it will be also kept in the organic regulation, because in the organic regulation it is described what is an organic heterogeneous material. It is produced organically, and when we would have been more successful during the negotiations, we would have we wanted to intervene that the organic heterogeneous material is also described in the development of the material. Minimum 3 years under organic conditions, for example. This is not the case. We read in the organic regulation, it has only to be produced, the seeds have only produced organically, and then it is organic heterogeneous material. But the process of getting into market is the same, and and therefore it's fine, and it must be kept in the organic regulation. Of course, we have to fight for.
Michelle, she's saying now that she thinks that the procedure for heterogeneous material seems to have become much more complicated in the proposal of the European Commission.
Yes, it might be when it is not taken over one-to-one, and it might be complicated. And the biggest problem in the whole proposal is that they will set up a lot of duties to report what you are doing, and a lot of duties to register as a professional operator. Otherwise, you are not allowed to do that. You have some freedom of things to do, but on the other hand, there is a lot of bureaucracy and a lot of narrowing of the whole biodiversity seed work, of course.
Indeed. Last question. What is your outlook on climate change, and how is this going to affect varieties research?
Of course, it affects, because we have to realize that climate will be much more problematic in the future, and to help farmers and gardeners not necessarily use maybe some new varieties made by CRISPR-Cas. It is necessary that also the organic breeding is more focusing on these issues. And the serial breeders, they do it since long time with better shadowing of the surface of the field, with better rooting, better using of nutrition from the soil, etc., etc. So we have to be careful on that, and of course breeding must also focus on that. In vegetables, it's much more complicated, of course, but it is a task, and we have to focus also how the organic management and the variety is working closely together to solve some problems made by climate change.
Okay, so it's 12:55. I think we can close here. Thanks a lot, Gebhard. We have excused you. Also, thank you very much for sharing all of this knowledge and tips. Yeah, it has been great. And we hope that this information will be very useful for existing initiatives and for others that want to start in the sector of organic seeds and breeding. Thank you very much, Gebhard.
Thank you also for the possibility to do that. And if people have more questions, I think we will share also my email address. So feel free and send some questions to me. This is
Perfect. Perfect.
Bye-bye.
Hello. Okay, so we have reached the end of the webinar. We hope you found it interesting and useful. As you know, we will be posting the recording in the LiveSyn YouTube channel and the PowerPoints presentations on the LiveSyn website. We will send you an email with all of the information. Next webinar will be on marketing and communication, finance and governance models, and business plans and business models development, but that will be in 2025 and 2026. Many thanks to all the participants, to the speakers, to the interpreters, to the collaborators. Thank you very much. See you in the next LiveSyn activity. Bye-bye.